Hi, I'm Rachel, and I'm here to talk about the 2024 National Jewish Book Awards. The National Jewish Book Awards are hosted by the Jewish Book Council, and the winners and finalists were just announced, and I'm just really excited. I feel like last year, particularly when it comes to most award-winning books or, what's buzzy and popular, I was largely in the dark, going through the Goodreads Choice Awards last year, or even the BookTube Prize long list contenders that I've recently voted for. Most of the books I had little idea about, but it seems like I finally came to the place where most of my reading and my TBR forming was informed. And there are plenty of books on this list of winners and finalists that I've already read or are part of my TBR, so I thought I'd take the time to talk about them. So anyway, a little more context about the National Jewish Book Awards. They started in 1950. And as of now, there are 18 categories and 128 judges, from my count, of Jewish literary folks who, read and judged in whatever categories. And more information about the 2024 prize is listed in the link down below. I have 6 winners and finalists in fiction and nonfiction to talk about, but before I get to that, I want to talk about the winner of the Mentorship Award, which is Aaron Lansky, which was really shocking and surprising to me in a geeky way, because I just finished reading his book, Outwitting History, The Amazing Adventures of a Man Who Rescued a Million Yiddish Books, which is about basically his foray into studying Yiddish and into sort of starting to save Yiddish literature, and it ultimately got him into creating the Yiddish Book Center, and I think that's in large part what he's being honored for. I think it seems like maybe he's retiring. But I had like no idea, like when I picked out this book for my page 112 tag pick in December, or even when I was talking about it just a couple of days ago, that, Aaron Lansky was going to have any part in the National Jewish Book Award. So I just thought, what, like verisimilitude, putting myself at the center of the story. But it is pretty cool. And I'll link to my review of this book down below. And now I'll get into my highlighted books, starting with nonfiction. And the first book I'll talk about is October 7th, 100 Human Stories by Lee Yaron, which I think, this is kind of a culmination. This is the year when October 7th is going to start having a significant impact on Jewish publishing. And this book in particular, which won like the Big Shebang Award this year, is a book of reportage of people who were directly affected by the attacks on October 7th. I think it's largely about snapshots of various communities. The fact that it is so highly elevated now certainly makes it stand out to me a little bit more. But I have actually read another book that's been honored by the prize just recently, and that would be The Gates of Gaza, a story of betrayal, survival, and hope in Israel's borderlands by Amir Tabon, which is more of a memoir because Tabon, he's a journalist as well, but he was a member of the community of Nahal Oz, one of the kibbutzim that was attacked by Hamas. So he talks about his personal experience with his family during October 7th, and then it's also a fair bit of the history of the kibbutz, and as sort of the center point of talking more broadly as well about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And I thought it was just really gripping and also very contemplative. Moving away from October 7th, another book that stood out to me is The Amen Effect, Ancient Wisdom to Mend Our Broken Hearts and World by Rabbi Sharon Brous, which I think I talked about at the beginning of 2024 as an anticipated read, that I'd be interested in her take on, religious precepts and how to, apply them to, moral thinking in the world today. And this rabbi's relatively famous and thoughtful when it comes to talking about world events, and she also has, a connection to the rabbis in my own synagogue. So now this is just another reminder that maybe I actually should read this book. Then another book I've read is Tablets Shattered, The End of an American Jewish Century and the Future of Jewish Life by Joshua Leifer. I'm really happy that this book, was honored, and in a way, I guess this might stand in contrast to how Leifer was assuming he would be perceived by the wider Jewish community, because he's giving sort of newer, younger, more radical takes on the Jewish establishment than have been popular for a long time, particularly on the American Jewish relationship with Israel. And I personally, I didn't always, agree with everything he said, but I really think it is an important perspective to have out there. Then another book I'm going to be reading soon is To Be a Jew Today, A New Guide to God, Israel, and the Jewish People by Noah Feldman. I'm reading this in a couple of months with my Israel book club, which, again, this is a book about I think about confronting a lot of modern American Jewish life, and really interested to discuss this in a book club setting. And finally, for nonfiction, I'm going to highlight, super hyper specific scholarshipy book with The Babylonian Jews and Sasanian Imperialism in Late Antiquity by Simcha Gross. It's the type of book where I'm sure it might be a little bit stuffy, but it's like so hyper specific to a particular part of Jewish history, and I'm feeling an itch, like maybe, like I know it's not something that's going to be really buzzy and popular, or one of those perhaps deeply gripping books, but maybe sometimes it's good to lean into something a little bit more niche and geeky. So maybe I'll go ahead and, it's an academic book, and it probably isn't as widely available either. But I'm kind of getting an itch, like maybe I'm gonna, maybe I'll actually go ahead and buy it and see what this is about. But first, I have a whole bunch of fiction books, most of which have already been on my TBR for a while, that maybe I should privilege, although I'm hoping I can get a fair few of them from the library. Starting with On Her Own by Lihi Lapid. This is a Hebrew book. In fact, Lapid is the wife of a former Israeli prime minister, and I'm hoping that's not her only true claim to fame, and that it seems like she has a fair few books under her belt, and then this one has gotten translated into English. And I think it's a little more of a mystery thriller than my usual, but I guess I am intrigued. And there's also, themes of mothers and daughters and immigration in here, so that's more up my alley anyway. Then we have The Safekeep by Yael van der Wouden, which actually has been a much buzzier book in broader circles. This book made it into the Booker Prize shortlist, and it is actually one that is a contender for the BookTube Prize long list that I voted for, and I hope makes it onto the long list. And so this is a book of literary fiction, historical fiction, that takes place in the Netherlands, and I think is talking about sort of post-Holocaust attitudes about 20 years after the Holocaust. And it follows particular members of a family, but it also is a microcosm of a particular period of time, and questions, it seems, of ownership and morality. The next book I'm highlighting is very buzzy, at least in the Jewish circles, which makes me very excited. That is Songs for the Brokenhearted by Ayelet Sabari, which has won the Big Fiction Award here, and also in the American Jewish Library Association's Fiction Awards as well. I'll link to that announcement. I've read Ayelet Sabari's short stories and her memoir, and this novel, as well as following a Mizrahi Jewish family in Israel. And I'm just really excited that it's getting all of this buzz, and the hype is growing in my head. It's been on my anticipated reads list ever since I knew it was coming out. So yeah, I'm intending to get to this one very soon. A book I've already gotten to that's gotten an award is The Hebrew Teacher by Maya Arad, which I read and really liked last year. It's actually a series of 3 novellas. All 3 of them follow Israeli expats. And technically speaking, I didn't like the second story as much as the other 2, but the other 2 really made up for it for me. The titular story in particular, I think, was a compelling read to talk about like university politics, and we're also following a character who like started the Hebrew program at her Midwestern university, and really discusses her work and how that informs her life. And then when a combative new professor is introduced into the mix, how she responds to that. And I think it's just really great characters. Really enjoyed this one. Then, for something a little different, is Mazel Tov by Blanche Bendahan, which actually is a book from the 1930s that's been recently unearthed and translated into English. This author was a French-Moroccan poet, and now she's, in the 30s, wrote this coming-of-age novel taking place with the Sephardi community in Morocco, and the character of Mazel Tov, who is a young woman of, I guess, the 1930s. Yeah, I'm really intrigued. I feel like it's going to skirt along some really interesting cultural and political history as well. And it's always very exciting when, a book from yesteryear is rediscovered and especially translated, and then I can sink my own teeth into it. And finally, another anticipated book for me has won one of the awards, and that is Night Owls by A.R. Vishny, which I'm very excited about. It is YA Jewish fantasy, and I think it's a little different than a lot of the YA Jewish fantasy I've seen around lately. This one focuses on the idea of estries, which is owl-shifting female vampires from Jewish tradition, which actually I don't have a lot of knowledge about, but I thought would be an intriguing new take on this subgenre, and it's exciting to think that other people enjoyed it as well, so hopefully I will too, and I'll be getting to this one soon as well. So that about covers it for me now. As usual, when I'm filming in the morning, the sun is now competing with me. But I will leave links to all of these books listed down below. Books from, including their reviews from the Jewish Book Council, and also my own reviews of the books that I have read. And I should be back on this channel in the near future with my author's answer video for the month, so stay tuned for that. I'm also very excited, as I've been mentioning, that the BookTube Prize, which is the prize I personally judge in, will be coming up starting in February, and I think I just heard from our director, Robert, and he's had a slew of people who have signed up, including myself, to judge the octafinals. So I hope I get a ballot. It's possible I'll be on standby, but we'll just have to see what comes. I'm very excited for a whole bunch of new books in my future, and of course, if I am a standby judge in the BookTube Prize, I've now highlighted a whole bunch of Jewish award-winning and finalist books that have caught my fancy. Definitely not writing out of exciting reading material, and I hope that you're not either. So happy reading, everyone. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.